It was all going so well.
My mother would be proud.
Peter Mandelson, a highly controversial appointment as Britain's ambassador in Washington, was making best friends in very high places. And the Prime Minister, who appointed him, gave him a seemingly well-deserved pat on the back. Till Lord Mandelson's past, his too friendly relationship with the late convicted billionaire paedophile Jeffrey Epstein came back to haunt him. The Prime Minister yesterday,
I have confidence in the ambassador in the role that he is doing.
A junior Foreign Office Minister today.
He has been withdrawn as ambassador with immediate effect.
What did for Mandelson were emails leaked to Bloomberg that showed he supported the serial child sex abuser Epstein when he was being investigated for sex trafficking and was charged with procuring a minor for underage sex. Of the criminal investigation, Mandelson said, "I'm following you closely and here whenever you need." Then he said, "Reminder, you're fighting back, so you need strategy, strategy, strategy." And on the eve of Epstein being imprisoned, Mandelson wrote, "I think the world of you and I feel hopeless and furious about what has happened, and fight for early release. And your friends stay with you and love you."
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
In the Commons, the Prime Minister's supposed friends on his own benches weren't friendly.
What due diligence was undertaken prior to his appointment when everybody knew about his relationship with Epstein?
Clearly the appointment process didn't pick up these issues, that's self-evident. So can we have an assurance that there will be an inquiry as to why that was not the case?
As the MP said, Mandelson's friendship with the disgraced billionaire has been public knowledge for years. And this 10-page 2003 birthday message from Mandelson to Epstein showed how much the Labour politician loved Epstein's lavish hospitality on his Caribbean island.
Many people love him. Others love to hate him. But to us, he's just Peter.
The reason this isn't a laughing matter for Starmer that he appointed Mandelson is that twice before, Mandelson was forced to resign as a minister for transgressions related to friendships with the super wealthy.
What it shows is that Keir Starmer has very, very bad judgment. This appointment was a personal appointment by him. He put Peter Mandelson in that job.
Peter Mandelson himself tonight wrote to all staff in the British Embassy in Washington, and he said that he felt utterly awful about his association with Epstein, but had no alternative to accepting the Prime Minister's decision. Trump was here earlier in the summer to inspect his golf course. He's back next week on a formal state visit. Mandelson helped the special relationship between our nations be a smiley one, but what will the mood be after his humiliating exit? Robert Peston, ITV News.
Well, our correspondent Robert Moore is outside the ambassador's official residence in Washington for us. And Robert, Lord Mandelson's sacking comes at a bit of an awkward time for UK-US relations, doesn't it?
That's right. I mean, as of now, Lord Mandelson, very much the former ambassador, given that his sacking was with immediate effect, to the best of our knowledge, is still inside the British Embassy residence here on Massachusetts Avenue in Washington. There is some irony to this sacking because, you know, in recent weeks, certainly over the summer, Number 10, the Foreign Office and the White House itself all regarded Mandelson as doing pretty well in Trump world. In other words, he had befriended and flattered the president, as Robert Peston was just mentioning there. He was regarded as an expert on international trade. He had easy access to the Oval Office, so everything was going well. I think the problem was, and this kind of sealed Lord Mandelson's fate, is there was real concern that more damaging emails would emerge between Mandelson and the late Jeffrey Epstein during the state visit itself next week, and that would be the nightmare scenario. Look, it's true that the sort of Anglo-American relationship is bigger than any single ambassadorship, but certainly given that Donald Trump's state visit next week is just now days away, and given that Donald Trump has opaque relations with Epstein himself, and therefore that's kind of in the frame as well, then this was kind of a exquisitely embarrassing diplomatic moment for the Foreign Office, for the Palace, and certainly for Number 10.
OK, Robert, thanks very much. Well, this isn't the first time Lord Mandelson has left a Labour government in disgrace. He was forced out twice before over his controversial relationships with the wealthy, but it was his charm and connections that persuaded Sir Keir Starmer to give him another chance. And as our political correspondent Romilly Weeks reports, this time there looks to be no way back.
He was the ultimate political fixer, one of New Labour's architects, indispensable to 3 prime ministers, but also a man with a taste for the high life who must now have used up all his political lives.
They underestimated me because I am a fighter and not a quitter.
Certainly a fighter, Peter Mandelson was born into a true Labour family, grandson of Deputy Prime Minister Herbert Morrison.
First of all, we're going to stick to the issues that matter to the people of this country.
Elected as MP for Hartlepool in 1992, he had a transformative effect on the Labour Party. Dubbed the Prince of Darkness for his behind-the-scenes manoeuvres, he backed Tony Blair as leader and smoothed his path to number 10. Rewarded with a cabinet job, his first resignation was over a loan to buy his house, the second over a passport application for an Indian billionaire.
I am today resigning from the government.
But despite the papers writing him off, there was always another chance, made a lord by Gordon Brown and back in the cabinet.
But the Prime Minister has asked me to come back. You mean third time lucky? Thanks very much.
Well-connected, strategic and charming, with a habit of holidaying on the yachts and private jets of the super rich, not everyone was a fan.
Me and my mate Peter.
Despite his friendship with Jeffrey Epstein first being revealed in 2023, Keir Starmer still made him US ambassador. He successfully built bridges with President Trump, but the paedophile friend they had in common has now brought one of them down. And for Lord Mandelson this time, there can't really be any way back. Romilly Weeks, ITV News.
So as promised, our political editor Robert Peston is here with his analysis. So, Robert, where does this leave the Prime Minister tonight?
Damaged. There is no more important relationship for the UK with any other country than the one that we have with America. And it's a particularly difficult relationship at the moment because Donald Trump is a uniquely, some would say, difficult, but certainly untypical president. Appointing Mandelson to what, therefore, is by far the most important diplomatic post among all the ambassadorships that the UK has was always a controversial decision, not because he isn't politically astonishingly able, which he is, but he does have a history, as you heard from Romilly, of getting too close to the super wealthy, crossing lines. He's been sacked twice before from very senior positions as a result of earlier transgressions. And this, let's be absolutely clear, was always a high-risk appointment by the Prime Minister. And many would say a needlessly high-risk appointment because there was in place a woman called Karen Pierce who had very, very good relationships with Trump and his people. And she could have stayed on for at least another year. So this was a bad judgment by the Prime Minister. He is damaged by it. And we also shouldn't forget, we've only been back, Parliament's only been back for less than 2 weeks. The end of last week, we had the resignation of the second most powerful person in the government, the Deputy Prime Minister, Angela Rayner, for having breached the ministerial code. Tonight, we've got, the resignation, or in fact, the sacking. I mean, Peter Mandelson made absolutely clear tonight in his letter to the staff in the embassy, he didn't want to go. He's been sacked. So the most important diplomatic post, it's a terrible start for the Prime Minister to what he's calling phase 2 of his time in office.